What is up, you savages? This is the Protect Your Neck podcast, and I'm your host, Dan Tom. Analyst is work you'd find over at MMA Junkie as well as OddsCheckerUS.com. But on this here program, the Protect Your Neck podcast, we break down high-level MMA. That's what we're going to do here today. In a bit of a different way, just a recap, nothing to break down. I know you guys can't wait for Anthony Smith versus Superman Spam, but that's why the UFC puts breaks before these cards, like the Connor cards, so it can build up your excitement. I'm sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. You know what I mean. We're still gonna fill some time here. May have another bonus episode. I don't know if it's gonna be a top five or what, or if we're just gonna talk some topics. But I may have a guest come on later in the week. It's been a while since I've maybe chatted with a certain or a few people, to be honest, or yet to have chatted with some people from the fight site, so I may have someone on there from there. But today, folks, it's going to be a recap. Going to answer some listener questions, which will take the topics abound a bit. And yeah, someone actually did ask about some non-fight stuff that I was planning to talk a little bit about, I guess. So all positive stuff. So yeah, I'll throw that in there too. We will answer it all, and for better or worse, your boy here will be honest, mainly for worse. So we'll see what opinions of mine will piss people off this week. We'll see. I'm not in a, don't worry, I'm not in a ranting mood, nor am I trying to, nor do I ever really try to, believe it or not. But yeah, I'll say some points that, as far as the listener questions also asked this, that I don't think are being said, but, you'll find that, I don't know, we'll get to it. And I don't think I really have the craziest opinion, to be honest, so it's not like I'm trying to build anything up here. Just, it's a lot of my team versus your team going out there. So I'll do my best to parse out my interpretation, try to give love to each side down the middle, encapsulating overall from a nice step back and trying to get all those nice perspective points that we should all try to be aware of on topics as we plow through the card from top to bottom. You can check the timestamps. I'll probably do that. I guess I'll do that after the shouts. I'm going to do an Amazon read. Looks like y'all been using the link. I've been not really paying attention and not reading and not really promoting or plugging much lately, as you guys could tell. But y'all are still kind enough to still support this free show over at mixedmartialanalyst.com, which hosts the show. You can go there on the right or toggle to the right if you want a mobile. And you'll see an Amazon or Onnit link. Also not really great companies that I'm excited to affiliate with, but those links have been on there since the incarnation of that site about 2015. Before everybody started losing their mind, and still we do, unfortunately, at least I do. Sheepishly raising my hand, still do use these companies for things here and there, trying to use them as much as before, but I still do. Who am I kidding? I'm going to come clean. So if you have a bit of a conscience about it too, you can go ahead and go to mixedmartialanalyst.com, click through the links, whether you're getting your plant-based protein like me through Onnit, or having to buy little tidbits here and there through Amazon when you need to. Go ahead and click through the link. It essentially charges you nothing. You just have the extra click or two to get there, and a little bit gets kicked back to the show, yeah? And for no cost at all, and believe me, it all goes back to the show. There's also a secure PayPal link if you just want to donate directly. Not everybody, people still suggest that I should do the Patreon route, and even if it's not charging for the podcast, just to give someone more of an option to support the show, or if they want to do like $1 a month kind of a deal, which would be cool. But again, it's like a gateway thing, sorry, I'm going to use the strip club reference here, but it's like waiting tables at the strip club. It's like, yeah, sure, the tips are great. How long till you're up there dancing? How long, Dan? How long till you're selling yourself? Oh, jeez. That'd be the worst fucking stripper ever. Wow, sorry for that visual. But yeah, so those are the ways to support the show. We'll do the Amazon read there, and then we'll push on to the recap, and then listener questions, and then we'll get the fuck out of here. Hopefully we'll keep this under an hour. There's no reason why it should be longer than that. Shouts, Michael K. Williams, man. Actor Michael K. Williams, you might know him from Boardwalk Empire as Chalky White, of course. Me and Most were introduced to him, wow, is it like 20 years ago now? It is. In the show The Wire, one of the HBO original shows that really helped getting things cooking, along with The Sopranos, of course, I'm behind on that. I still haven't watched The Sopranos. Shame on me, I suppose. Not that I'm not interested to watch it, by the way. But just for context, it was one of those important shows, which is why you hear it referenced. It was amazing. A lot of great actors. You'll see, early Littlefinger as a Carcetti. You just got a lot of great actors, including one of the best, arguably the best character ever portrayed by a TV, HBO or whatever series, any kind of series. By definition, the lines get muddy now, as we have so many, right? But Omar from The Wire, Omar Little, just one of the best fucking characters, man. He's quoted a lot. But, whether you quote him or have heard him quoted, please do yourself a service and go watch The Wire. It's still, not dated. You can still enjoy it, Not that you can't or shouldn't enjoy old things, obviously, my hipster ass does. I'm just saying for anybody, afraid of, things that are old, please go check out The Wire. It was awesome. It was an amazing actor. Shared a thing that I saw that he filmed himself of like a bunch of his different personalities talking about typecasting, and there's much more deeper aspect to it than that, and the kind of everything from internalized racism to the politics of how we, regardless of how we feel or affected by race, but even just politics. I'm not talking about left versus right. But, smiling and doing our part to be, so people want to hire us and everything that entails with that. Just a very powerful thing. I never saw it. And, unfortunately when someone dies is when you see a bunch of stuff crop up. And yeah, so I was, we're enjoying, sucks that he passed. Perusing the content abroad yesterday was a big weekend for pro wrestling, which was great to see, and makes me apparently my guy at Minoru Suzuki, I don't know how old he is now, in his 50s, just came out for the show, man. And I know I saw a post of his weeks ago or whatever, so I knew it was coming on Instagram, and I translated and read it. I was just kind of seeing what he was up to, because shocker, he came up in the lost episode of talking about top 5 Japanese fighters. I'll just say that he came up, but yeah, and me and my man Jordan, we talked a bit of Minoru Suzuki and his importance. So it was just really cool to see that, and again, kind of help fuel this talk, and hopefully people can understand the pro wrestling aspect of it, as far as, how our sport connects. And I know I fucking talk about catch wrestling ad nauseum, but that's not, that's not the only sect. It's just a very familiar one when you talk about certain names, but pro wrestling in itself, and it's something I've always said as well. But if you want to hear it better explained than I have in the past, again, go check out the Southpaw podcast. They did an episode on it a couple weeks back. Really good. Excuse me. And then, we also saw Bryant Danielson. And I'm so confused. I'm like, isn't it Daniel Bryant? And I'm guessing he switched back to his name, because when he got known as Daniel Bryant, I was really confused, because I knew him. I actually trained with him at Extreme Couture under Neil Melanson, when he was just wrestling on the regional scene. And I wish I still had the shirt. The violence, the dragon violence, old school. Bryant Danielson. And he was just a kid from the Pacific Northwest. He was in the process of bulking up, because he knew that, the big shows like the WWE weren't going to look at him. And he was good, man. Really great training partner. I already kind of detached from pro wrestling, just as a fan, not like upset or different, just life, not hating, just wasn't following it, right? But and I still don't. But when I heard that he was doing well, it was awesome. And then whether it was concussion, other health issues, he had to stop. I haven't really followed that or what brought him back, but that was just really cool. And I'm guessing he's going by his regular name now. I've been so messed up from the other version. But yeah, Bryant Danielson's how I knew him. So it's cool to see that. And the Daniel Bryant shed. So yeah, shouts to the to AEW and all the pro wrestling shows, and seems to be a good time for that. So good on you. And I don't know if I officially shouted him last week, but Ben Cohen from the Fight Site, man. Buy Ben's meat, and he also got an MMA amateur, I believe it was. Either way, fucking impressive as hell. Man, props to Ben. I know he's been trying to fight, and it's been tough to put stuff together for him and everybody, obviously. And so I was really glad that came through, and he got the result. Just a good dude. Go support him. All right. 11:58. All right. Amazon reads. Let's go to that. All right. So Amazon click-throughs, mixedmartialanalyst.com. Over to the right. Someone bought OXO good strips, simply tier standing paper towel holder. By the way, it just lists what you bought and the price and the percentage that I get from it, which is small, but it's appreciated. But it does not give me your name or any personal information. So don't worry if you want to buy, the Ultra Vibramax 5000. You're experimenting a bit. Maybe you're in your David Carradine phase of life. You've got the karate gi and the silk rope, so you don't hurt yourself. Be careful. Don't go out like old Dave there. You can do it. And no one will know it's you. I will, of course, pontificate on your purchases inappropriately, of course, but your identity is safe, Batman. So, so there's that. Standing paper towel holder, brushless stainless steel, nice. I feel like I could use them, but I'm using paper towels everywhere. Like I have them stationed as ammo dumps. I feel like it's not good. Don't worry, I do recycle for what it's worth, so not just blindly wasting paper here. But yeah. Good on you for being organized. Blue Buffalo Life Protecting Formula, adult small breed dry dog food, chicken and brown rice. Oh, wow, nice. Okay. Some doggy food. Appreciate that. Always got to buy that. I'm sure I could buy mine through Amazon too now that I think about it. But I've been getting mine through Chewy. I don't know. I feel like my dog needs to eat more, although they're getting bigger. Who fucking knows? Thank you for buying that. Somebody bought Audio Technica ATH M40X headphones. Are these wireless? Detachable wires, it looks like. Yeah, wow, nice. I don't know what model Audio Technicas I'm using, but let me know how you like those. By the way, if anybody's using audio, even if it's not Audio Technica, obviously, but just wireless headphones. Not talking about AirPods. I have those talking about the cans, the big old cans you put in your head when you're doing professional or amateur recordings, as I'm probably more classified as, obviously. Let me know. I'm looking for a good set of those. I dig my Audio Technicas, but yeah, let me know. Somebody got Dentech Kids Fun Flossers, limited edition monster flossers. That sounds fun. I wonder if I would have been, more coming around to flossing earlier in life if they've had fun print like that as a kid. I'm sure they did, but I don't think my parents were shelling out for anything extra. There was no fun Band-Aids. No. But yeah, that's that is a good thing to market to kids, I suppose. Hygiene as opposed to cigarettes, right? Stairs in it, beer cans, and the draft, the craft beer movement that's worked on childhood sensibilities like me, ooh, pretty can. Anyways, universal white plastic toilet hinge hit bolt screw for a top mount. Wow, okay, I got to change the old toilet seat myself, so I may have to change some bolts as well. Okay, you guys are giving me ideas here. Thank you very much. Someone else got a 20 by 50 compact HD binoculars. All right. Okay. Why does my head go right to Peeping Tom? I'm not saying you are using that for that good lady or sir who these things was a nice pricey purchase. So I definitely appreciate you buying your binoculars for, let's just say, bird watching. Okay. We'll go with that. We'll go with bird watching. All right. Wow, somebody bought oh my god. Nanny Spy Cam 1080p. I'm gonna assume this is the same person. Up close and far away, doing all your spying needs. Wow. Dan, you talk like a creep and a pervert on the podcast. You're gonna attract creeps and perverts to the podcast. I'm sorry. I appreciate that was expensive too. I appreciate you buying this, folks. Don't get offended. I'm just, when you see those items listed back to back, it doesn't say who it's again. You can fulfill your creepy dreams, and I can't call you out by name. So go ahead, click away, folks. As long as you're not hurting anybody. Try not to hurt yourself. I love the Carradine reference, but yeah, and also don't spy on people too. That's not cool. But yeah, hopefully, I'm sure, I guess I'm hoping that maybe your nanny's stealing from you, and that's why you're doing it. I don't want to hope that either. Whatever you're using the spy cam for. Thank you for clicking through. All right, next product. Move on. Someone got a Lennox X6670 MERV 11 bolt replacement filter for Honeywell. I think someone's doing some work, because the next one is doorstop silicone bumper tips. I'll bet you I'm like reading all these products. Is gonna be the next, like duct tape, rope. Wonder what. Fucking Homeland Security. We've detected some problems with your click-through. It's been a funnel for terrorists. Jesus Christ. No, just kidding. All right, thank you for buying that. Filter by 20 by 25 air filter. Thank you for buying that. Those aren't cheap. I had to buy some recently myself, so thank you for clicking through on that. Someone bought the Jesse Stone 9 movie collection. What is that? Oh shit, Tom Selleck, you're still alive? What are you doing here? Hi, Daniel. I'm surprised I'm alive too. Ooh, he doesn't even have his mustache. He's got like an ass kicker. Oh, he must be going through his old man phase. Oh man, you gotta have the Don Fry mustache, dude. I didn't even know Tom Selleck was still alive. Somebody bought Middle Earth 6 film collection. Yes, I love the hobbits. They make me feel so youthful. Gandalf, you're spending a lot of time with those hobbits. Yes, I do, rather. Wizard always comes when he means to, yes? Jesus, damn, why do you have to make it so dirty? Thank you for buying that. That was an expensive purchase. I probably should have said that rather than launch into some pedophilic scenario that probably ruined your fandom. Anyways, we got the next. Ooh, Star Trek 4 movie collection. All right, Star Trek in the house. I'm not hating. I never got into Star Trek. I think I probably could dig it. Just never got into it, I guess. But thank you for buying that collectors there. I'm gonna do some guessing. I'm gonna guess at least the Star Trek, maybe the Middle Earth too. But I'm gonna guess the Star Trek and then the Jesse Stone 9 movie collection was bought by the same person, and I'm gonna guess they were buying something for your dad. If I'm right, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, keep your identity secret. It's safe. It's safe here. Somebody bought a Universal Organizer cup holder by Mom Cozy. Okay. Oh wow, that looks like a serious organizer bag there. I dig it. Thank you for buying that. Someone bought... No, that's it. All right, that's it. Thank you guys for clicking through at the Amazons, at the mixedmartialanalyst.com. There's an On It one there as well. If you buy like hemp protein, or any of that jazz. But yeah, it doesn't list anything at all. At least I list just the products. Again, it won't list your name. So again, if you want to, buy some creepy shit, like apparently some people may or may have. Wow, Dan, stop speaking these things into reality. It won't tell me who you are. So yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for supporting. And if you ever want to share or follow, like at the PYN podcast on all social platforms, all that bullshit. Yeah. Yeah, and I have a YouTube channel that, it's whatever. Hopefully I'll be uploading more than audio. Maybe like these videos that like I edit. I wonder if I could edit and not get it taken down, but I use like a DMX song in it. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's not monetized or anything. Shouts for you guys for sharing. I spent like a couple hours on Sunday. I thought it was only going to take me an hour, and it took me like 2 to 3, because I'm just weird like that. Cutting together a Hayata Sakurai and Jens Pulver from Bushido 9 and editing and chopping that up together to fit Twitter length, punctuate action with words. At least I did so successfully in the beginning and end of the video. Tough to keep that punctuation through the middle, but you get lucky sometimes. Trying to get better at this as I work toward my big project that I was teasing. But yeah, that's Daniel Tom MMA on YouTube if you want to support there or whatever. By the way, shouts to the YouTube commenters. Y'all are awesome. I'm lucky I get some good ones there. All right, UFC Vegas 36 recap. We went 4-5 overall picks. Again, seems to be the norm in 2021 with these makeshift cards. One asterisk here, 3-1 with a push there in props. Another asterisk, technically 1-0 in the parlay piece, but because it was only ended up being a parlay piece because the other side got dropped from the card day of, and then 1-1 in straight plays. So yeah, I chased and like I said, depending on how the night went, and added Brunson. Added some small degen stuff that I talked about with Aaron, kind of tailing him on just some plays that I felt were pretty. I co-signed and felt yeah, it's the obvious angle here, like the Aspinall round 1, which we'll get to, or this or that. So I was able to end. It was one of the few times chasing paid off for me. So because I was doing bad, obviously, as you can tell with the stats. So I was able to end slightly positive than what I started. So that's always good. But again, I can't bump my chest too hard. There was chasing. There was degen action the day of. And even though I did state these things either here and or on Aaron's show and or on Twitter, me, I have a hard time bumping my chest too hard about anything, but especially the add-ons, right? So in the headliner, we had Derek Brunson defeating Darren Till as the aforementioned chase, because my pick was Derek Brunson round 3 to cook his catch, possibly by submission, but I could have also seen him hammering him out from the mount position too, right? Which was what I leaned more toward, and I shouldn't have, because I did say that I was one of the few reminding y'all out there that he got his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt in said time, which he credited his post-fight. And I said that so I said and wrote that don't be surprised if he looks to remind us of that. However, I apparently missed a big number that was floating out there. He was up in the minus, 15 to 1,800 or something. I was seeing tickets go for Brunson by sub. I did not get that. I just kicked for coverage and played the money line and the under 3.5 to cover in case Till did catch him early, which, we saw that, he had his openings to possibly do so, but Brunson was able to run through him and get him to the cage, get him down. And when Till was down, it just was bad. Everything he did made it worse. When he tried to get up or elevate and use momentum, he gave him out. And he just ate pretty bad ground and pound. And that's usually was the sparker for his urgency, as it was with that Robert Whittaker ground and pound flurry. And Brunson's, of course, had some heavy elbows to it, too. So that was not fun for Till. And yeah, so the pick was right, and that definitely helped. Tough matchup for Till, especially it getting shifted to the small cage. I'm not going to bump my chest too hard in hindsight, even though I said a lot of that stuff prior. If I was super confident, I wouldn't have laid the under for the hedge. Now, would I have, right? But that's just what you gotta sometimes do when it is available. So I did. And yeah, we'll talk more Darren Till because we had questions come in on him. And I will answer those by being pretty fairly consistent, I would say, when I was reading these and thinking the answers in my head. You can go back to my breakdowns if you wanted to and kind of, see inklings for the things I'll say there. Tom Aspinall defeated Sergey Spivak via TKO strikes round one. Yeah, hit him with, I believe it was like the knee elbow combo, and then the short right hands kind of did him in. Yeah, Spivak had to travel, even though he didn't have to cut weight. It seemed like it affected him. I know my guy John Morgan there on the MMA Roadshow was saying something the broadcast kind of alluded to, that he wasn't the most pleasant during fight week with the time change. Admittedly messed him up. So, Aspinall gets it done. So that was good for the English fans, which they should have positives from here on out. My dog play missed. Alex Morono showed up, defeated David Zavada. Morono looked good, man. Big balls to step up, and it's hard to tell. Fighters, I always say they're ready, and it's hard to tell with Morono because he always kind of has that same shape or lack thereof a shape. As a guy who lacks shape, I'm not hating. That's actually what makes me endears me to Morono. So it's always hard to tell, but maybe that's another thing. I kind of have disproven, and by the way, I still have to collect just for more formalized sheet to draw off of, but I've still been keeping tracks of, the year plus layoff returns, and they're still doing like roughly at 57%. I mean, it's still technically winning more than they're losing, but it's like up 2, down 3, up 3, down 2. So the percentage is staying relatively similar to where they're still technically winning more than they're losing. And perhaps there's a similar theory there where fighters coming in on short notice is not as detrimental as before, right? So yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind, because that was some of my angles here and in other places too, and that just proved not to be true. And the counter right hand that I saw in my study, but I don't think I said enough of when I actually recorded the podcast, as I missed so many things that I mean to say, whether I write them down or not. That was their big and doing its damage on Zawada, as well as his left hand as well. And Zawada marks up easier, despite Alex Morono being pale as Casper the Ghost out there. But Zawada marks up really easily. We've seen that in his past fights. And he was doing better than commentary or the call or the perception. And that's not shade on commentary, just saying it was better than it was what was led on. But it just was one of those things where not only was Zawada working the legs and body, which often aren't credited, seen, etc., even when he did so successfully or landed, not just one but 2 shots in a row, Morono would come back with the harder shot and punctuate the exchange. So, credit to Morono, man, coming out there and getting it done. Tough break for Zawada, man. He really tried his hardest. He did have some tough draws, and, I thought this would have been a spot for him. It was not. We'll see what happens with him. Happy to be wrong on this next one. Khalil Roundtree defeated Modestas Bukauskas via TKO leg kick, and that's technically what it was, right? Credit to Roundtree. He wasn't just blindly spamming it, ponies all day. Jackson Wink style. He really had a setup in mind. You saw that Modestas Bukauskas went heavy on the lead jab, and he meant to do it. I don't think he meant to cripple him, so to speak, as Roundtree, people going after him. Like Roundtree went up to him after to see if he was okay, and that's not a surprise. Khalil's always been a nice guy. As I know him, even meeting him after his fight success, he still was, the nice kid that I knew back in the Rock and Java days. So don't throw shade at him. Modestas Bukauskas, despite being the recipient, also said, hey, don't throw shade. It was a legal kick. It caught him at a devastating time at a technique that, is primarily mainly for a deterrent. Or at least used, at least I think of, or, because we really don't see, I know this kind of ending is talked about, but we don't see those a lot. Now here's my issue and why people would seem like I seemed upset at certain things, but then I'm okay with the kick. Like, what is it, Dan? Well, basically, now here's the thing. God forbid it's nuance, folks. And God forbid you don't have to, like, be diehard on one side or the other and completely shit on the other side. I am okay with the kick. I'm okay with it being legal. I'm not protesting it to be illegal. I'm also aware of the defense and have been. And people, should learn that, yes. But there's also times where if you are spamming it unskillfully, and then that's not what Roundtree did. Roundtree did it skillfully. But you could create a similar result, and that is what's posed as the fear. And it is perfectly legitimate and okay to pose that. It is perfectly legitimate and okay not to like the technique. I am okay with posing it. I do not like the technique, but I'm also okay with it because it is legal. My problem is the people that are trying to pose it, even though I believe it's okay to start to have that conversation, right? Oh no, well then they're going to take rules out. Well, okay, now we're hypothetically saying the people who have opinions now all of a sudden have power to change rules over a sport that is shown to be stubborn about its stupid fucking rules. Let's relax, folks. It's okay to have this conversation. It's fine. It's fine. I promise. We'll be okay. My problem is with the people that pose it, they don't do so properly. Now they're getting better about it. I heard some podcasts do a pretty good job actually of not being too much one way or the other and posing, that it is okay, but why, and giving credence to why it draws a reaction. I believe it's like Severe Maypod and the Brit Pack. By the way, y'all across the pond have some amazing podcast intros, if I can tip my hat for a second. And shout out to Alan Joban, who on the post-fight show. Now, I'm too ignorant about football to fully appreciate it, but I appreciated it nonetheless, where he used a cross-sports analogy as far as, how they adjusted their tackling rules with football. And again, that's another sport which I'm going to get to, the other side, my problem with conflating it to, well, that's the goal, is to do damage. Because in football, that's the goal too. It's the goal on paper, and it's also the unwritten goal where, yeah, you want to hurt that other guy. You want to tackle him so hard that they don't want to run up the middle, or even dirtier. Maybe you don't want to permanently injure their career, but you want to get them out of the game because it's going to ensure your victory. Ensure, even though it's not as direct as MMA because they're literally fighting for their lives and livelihoods in there. But yeah, it certainly doesn't help if you're, even if you're already making a lot of money as a professional NFL player, to increase the value of your trading potential, of your team, of all of your overall earning potentials and sponsor potentials, and in a microcosm, going and hurting that other guy will do that for you. I got no disillusion about that, folks. I got no disillusion about it. I got no disillusion about how that adapts in combat sports, where it is even more drawn into its essence, rules, format, however you want to picture it. That yes, I'm not disagreeing with either side here. Is the ironic part, but both sides of this argument piss me off. Again, so you have one side that doesn't kind of properly does it, that gets a bit too emotional about it, and a guy that can get emotional about things. Who am I to talk shit? I'm not judging, because I too can make that mistake, because guess what? We all do. We're human beings, folks. So I'm not about to get up, butt my chest on a high horse, and spit on the peasants here. I just feel like there's a little bit of too strong emotion on both sides, because on the other side you have the emotion, which again I relate to as well. Perhaps it's because I'm a contrarian, and when I see mainstream talking points, especially ones that are either outright false or overly hyped, and which we got into last week, and my admitted bias toward those kind of things, like, yeah, I get that too, because you want to correct, right? And you want to same thing with the scoring criteria, right? You want to point out damage, right? However, I feel like it's really unfair to this conversation to conflate the argument with an end-all be-all and not even allowing the conversation to really happen, to better, understand, for us all to understand and have more intelligent in the effort to have more intelligent conversations going forward, is the whole just outright conflating it to whether it's, oh, well, we should ban leg locks then. That is the most stupid one. And I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to be derogatory to anybody. It's just, I'll explain why, and I get it. And then even the more general, which is correct, I don't even disagree with it. But again, the way it lacks nuance and does not allow aspects of why this conversation is happening in the first place. So it doesn't solve anything, even though I don't disagree with it, right? Which is in a sport where people knocking out and doing concussive damage, concussions are okay. The brain is much worse. That's not untrue, believe me. As a guy who actually, competed, has suffered, and will suffer head trauma issues for the rest of my life, and has had to familiarize with himself through many aspects, whether it's, the mother of the TBI I take care of to my own smaller TBIs that have affected me. It's kind of upsetting to see people squash the conversation like that, because it's like, oh, okay, so were you keeping that same energy before on concussive issues that I or many have brought up? Are you admitting, like I do often, that you're a hypocrite because I'm a hypocrite and we all are hypocrites who enjoy this because of what it's doing to brains? So I don't like it feels very just like, whether it's, politics or religion, people will use certain points when it's convenient. And I don't like that. I like keeping that same energy, And I get it. I don't disagree with it. But I just think it's very unfair to the conversation to conflate it with that. Because the fighters know that they are signing up for head trauma. They aren't, as we've learned, sadly, whether it's scoring criteria, and it's not an excuse. They should be. It's not an excuse, but what have we shouldn't be surprised. What we learned is that we shouldn't be surprised if fighters aren't very familiar with the rules, because again, the kick is legal, and I know a lot of fighters know that it's legal, and they're still complaining about it, and I get why. Although I don't feel they do the best job at articulating why, which opens up these arguments and other responses from the other side that I don't like. Even though I actually agree with the other side that it should be legal, learn to fucking defend it. Like that's my opinion too. Ultimately, folks. My thing is that I don't like the conflation, because the leg lock one goes into, it completely discounts what it takes to get to that leg lock, which is my problem with the scoring criteria and meaningful grappling. If there's not obvious or heavy strikes being done in the grappling, it's either submission or nothing. And a submission win is not effective grappling. It's a submission win. So effective grappling, well then what is effective grappling? Is it striking when you're in half guard? Sure. Technically, in the MMA terms, yes. But I do believe that passes, submission attempts, control, tiring someone, making someone do what you want to do, should be weighed. Not should it win a round? No. But it should be weighed, and it should be at least acknowledged or credited, especially if it was the primary action in the round and there wasn't any. But I'm not trying to get into a scoring thing. I'll save that for more educated people who can speak on it better than me. Which there are many, granted. But that is kind of one of my pet peeves. And when you conflate the oblique kick or the low leg side kick to a leg lock, it completely discounts the skill and the sacrifice that goes into that. And I'm not a leg lock touter, again, but I feel like it's either people are either jerking off about leg locks, which is a small percentage, or you have the mass repeating the Roganisms of, this is why you don't go for leg, because that opens you up to getting hit in the head. And again, God forbid, Dan is in the middle with some nuance, context, supported by facts and giving credence and not completely writing others off. I know, crazy concepts in 2021, right? But yeah, it completely discounts any of that. And again, even though I just poke fun at the Roganism, there's obviously truth to that, where you are sacrificing position, you are sacrificing yourself to get hit in the head for a submission attempt that the judges aren't going to give you fucking credit for, and you can rip, and plenty of people do get their knees ripped in these fights, and they don't tap, and they continue on, And, no one bats an eye. The fighter doesn't get credit for it. And it sucks, but yet someone throws a low percentage kick, like the low leg side kick or the oblique kick, as they tend to call some of these. I know there's a difference. That's why I'll say both. Everybody, it's the joke where everybody loses their mind, right? Everybody loses their mind, and then they'll conflate it to the leg lock, and that's just not fair. Now, the reason why I don't like the kick, and why, because it's a cheap and shitty kick. And I feel like it's okay. Not only is it okay to have an opinion, which I shouldn't have to remind people of that, but it's okay to have that opinion and still be okay with something being legal. We don't have to like everything and make it illegal, which again, back to the other side of the people. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean it needs to be illegal. So again, I agree with the people saying, tough, deal with it. We have knockouts in the sport and that are conflating it to that. Even though I don't agree with the conflations, I agree with their side and stance ultimately, right? Okay, so let's not get too pissed here. But it's a cheap and shitty kick. And what I mean by that is it's like, and also it's the arguing point, which I don't like. And I've talked about this on the show, no matter what the topic, where you take something that's a facts, bro, and you use that as a shield and you ignore all the other nuance, context, points, in good faith, even the ones in good faith, because you hide behind your shield of "I'm right, bro," and I hate that. It's little dick energy. It's really weak, and it's not a fun argument. You can't even have a fun or productive conversation that way. And a lot of that is, it's like, so for the low leg kick, it's oh well, we do. It's like, oh well, we're trying to do damage and it's legal. Deal with it. Which again, ultimately, I agree with. It is legal, and fighters do need to learn to deal with it. However, we've all played a video game, especially like those Street Fighter video games or whatever, and someone finds the move where they can just hit the B button over and over again in conjunction with a special power, or they do the Hadouken over and over again. They just kind of cheese it. Like, why are you cheesing, bro? At least that's what we used to call it in the 90s. I don't know. But like, and the person will be like, what? I'm not cheating. It's not cheap. Like, it's cheap. Like, what? I'm doing something legal. And yes, they are doing something legal. And yes, it's your job to figure that out and beat them. However, is it okay to call that person a fucking asshole? Because that's what they're being. They're being a fucking cheap ass. Like, it's fine. It's perfectly within the rules. But at the same time, can we call a cheap ass a cheap ass? And that move is cheap. Now, there's a reason why in Taekwondo it was the first kick we made sure you could do before anything else, because it was it wasn't to the knee, it was to the stomach, but it was that basic front kick. Now this isn't the low leg side kick, more the front kick that gets called the oblique kick in commentary. You bring your knee up, you extend your foot, you rechamber, and you reset by setting your foot down. 4-part. We would use that to teach the 4 parts to the kick, or what, chamber. Yeah, chamber, extension, rechamber, reset. 4 parts to the kick. And we did that because also it was, made you feel special. I had to do it when I joined. Like, it was like a test, right? But really, it's a test that's designed so you can win, because they pretty much, we're going to give you the easiest fucking move in martial arts. And we're gonna make you feel special for that one. And that's what it reminds me every time I see that. It looks like someone learning how to throw the most basic fucking kick, the most easiest thing to throw. And now when you point it to the knee, especially with people with stances and the wider stances, now you have a shot kind of similar to the calf kick, where you can hit them and be, for the most part, depending on the stance, the action, the reach of your opponent. There are outliers to this, obviously. But for the most part, most scenarios, you can now throw that and not be countered. You can throw something and not be countered. Now, is it very damaging? No. Could it be? Yes, as we see here. Although, again, this is we see more shin snaps from the calf kicks, hold that note, than any of what happened between Bukowskis and Roundtree. So from a mathematic perspective, yeah, I can cripple my opponent, win the fight, and give very little. I don't have to give position. I don't have to throw myself out of position. I don't have to sacrifice position like a leg lock. I don't have to step in the pocket. Mathematically, it's fantastic. It's also kind of a Forgive me. I don't mean to use this to play into the sexist thing. I don't mean it any way. But I'm just using it in the parlance because people who, people probably. Anyways, it's a bitch move. It's a bitch move. It doesn't take skill, and it's a bitch move. Now, that being said, it's perfectly legal. You can do it fine. But it's also okay to acknowledge that it's a bitch move. It doesn't require skill. Okay, maybe not bitch move, but it doesn't require skill. It does not require a lot of skill. It's one of the most least skillful things that you could throw. You can do. Grappling, striking. There's way more details that go into a proper jab than doing that. There's way more reward from a proper jab, too. In sporting context, right? And, and another problem with the thing, people are like, well, it's your objective to hurt people. Another problem with that inherent argument is people will be like, well, as long as you're not hitting in the balls or biting, you're like, wait a minute. It's the same with the Jake Paul thing. Wait, we're defending that he's a fucking pro boxer, but then we're also plotting ways for him to extend his winning streak and extend his game. Like, no. You can't have it one of two fucking ways. It's one way. And obviously it's not true, but that's not how life works. Life isn't fair, but it'd be nice if it kind of was sometimes. But that's not how that's not how it works. Sorry, I'm trying to lose my train of thought here. Cause there's so much to, I'm not trying to be ranty either, but there is just so much to this. You can't have it both ways. And just like the whole thing is if, if we're going to acknowledge that headbutts, biting, groin shots are bad, and you're not okay with those. Wait a minute. I thought the ultimate goal was to damage your opponent. In a real fight, that's why the judges are moving toward their criteria, right? Because in a real fight, it's the damage. It's not laying on top of somebody. We're moving toward a real fight now in our heads, apparently. Okay, so then if y'all, so then we should be okay with groin shots and headbutts then, right? Well, no. Why? We're not. Well, why aren't we then? It's because there's a thing called sportsmanship. And a lot of this, and which could be true, and although for me it's honestly not. I admit my traditional martial arts bias. It's not, but like many things that I've learned, traditional martial arts, even though it's been found out, and like we all should have found out Santa Claus isn't real a long time ago, it still gets blamed for a whole lot of shit. And there is that sect of people that felt like and legal leg kicks were bad, not just, oblique kicks, you know what I'm saying? And there is that crowd, they still exist, although most of them in MMA have reformed, like Duke Roufus. You could pull up old interviews where he was calling leg kicks cheap, and now he's known as, putting out, very Muay Thai capable fighters. People can change, you learn. You learn techniques, but... So it's not just like a traditional martial arts thing, like it's dirty. Like it's a general sportsmanship thing, folks. I know we like to blame, the traditional woo-woo martial arts and, honor and all the fucking bullshit Asian stereotypes. But no, kind of like I was listening to a recent episode on the Olympics. A lot of sports made by aristocratic societies. Well, Gentiles, and we're talking about sportsmanship here. That's not very sporting-like. That's where it comes from, folks. That's where a lot of this dissent comes from, because sportsmanship is a fucking thing, Whether you're a fan of it, whether you give a shit about it, whether you think it's real or not, and it is a thing, regardless of your feelings. And I don't think it's a bad thing as far as a moral compass within sports to strive toward. God knows sports. If anything's lacking morals, right? So I don't see why sportsmanship should be demonized, nor do I see why it is not acknowledged within this conversation as to the argument. And that's, I probably did a poor job too, as I'm criticizing, the people that are against it for doing a poor job at expressing that argument, that it's unsporting-like. Whereas the other side, who I ultimately agree with, that is illegal and you should learn how to defend the shit, because it is a shitty kick. However, it is okay at the same time to acknowledge that it's a shitty kick while still being, it's okay with it being legal, that it's a cheap kick. Without that. And yeah, well, it's still not as bad as head trauma or this or that. And it's like, I get that, but you know what? The fighters know that, and they've been practicing all their lives using skillful techniques to learn how to stay on balance with their jab, because they weren't doing it before, and then they come off balance when they add their cross to it, so now they have to work on all these aspects that are so hard, folks. They don't just go in there and throw these things. So when you have, and not Roundtree's example, by the way. It sucks that he actually does it the right way, and it makes the dramatic result that everybody was afraid of. So now, of course, this technique, this instance is going to be unfairly maligned, conflated, etc. My issue is more with the puppy mills of the world, and then the people in the corners collecting checks for literally 50% of their commands, ponies all day, and you just see fighters from around the world just fucking throwing the stupid kick, thinking they're being a good fighter, and it's a very unskillful and stupid kick. I have no problem with it being legal, and people should learn to defend it. Luckily, as a southpaw who put himself into Muay Thai and fought with people who could kick my ass in that realm, taught me real fast that the inside leg kick defense that I would use for power inside leg kicks, because oftentimes I was faced with orthodox fighters, I would often use that stance switch kick, which thankfully has been filtered out. I had a big problem. That was one thing I really did have a problem with, was adamant against when I was getting into the Muay Thai kickboxing MMA of the mid-aughts, where it was like everything robotic, left to right, switch kicks where it was like an obvious jump in stance and then a switch. I'm like, this is so fucking stupid. I'm like, why can't you guys throw any same side techniques, which is what traditional martial arts is good for. It teaches you those things so you can actually offbeat your opponents, right? But that same technique to avoid the Muay Thai inside leg kick, it's the same thing you see, you've seen a lot of replays being shared around of Israel Adesanya doing it to Robert Whittaker, right? And luckily, I already had that built into me. So when these things came around, it never was an issue. And in Kung Fu, in Kempo Karate, Chinese Kung Fu, Chinese Kempo, which is based from Shaolin Kung Fu, Shaolin Kempo, we had leg checks as well. Now, it's more like the Kung Fu style leg checks, you're using like the instep, like almost like you're doing a soccer pass. And it was more, but even that was more of a skill. It wasn't meant to hurt knees. It was more meant of intercepting kicks and checking kicks at the shin, the lower shin, where it's nice and weak and sore right there. But that took a lot of skill to stay on balance, to do it mid and be able to read it right, that they're not coming up and high and around with the waist and blasting into the body of your head with a roundhouse style kick. That they're coming up the center with a more of a front style kick. Again, these were very, Crouching Tiger would do like leg pillaring, and there were a lot of those drills too of debasing within the stance, and these are not as practical as obviously your Muay Thai techniques, as far as practicality. But what it did teach me is the skill and play out there, and even with Muay Thai kicks, obviously there's skill, but I was going to say even with calf kicks, which was another thing. Okay, well, calf kicks fit the range of you're not giving a lot positionally, and they can't really counter you back. Well, calf kicks still are a skill. It's much more skillful to throw. It takes much more skill to throw any kind of a round technique and balancing your weight distribution as opposed to just lifting your leg and extending it from a squared fucking position. So A, it automatically takes more skill, and B, there's been more shin snaps than there are these knee things, so there's more of a risk to that reward, right? So that's an actual game. I'm okay with that because guess what? Yeah, it sucks to see a fighter take 2 calf kicks and then he doesn't even get to have his fight, and now he's spending the rest of the time limping. I get that sucks, especially if you bet on that fighter, right? However, the guy throwing it can snap his shin and fucking permanently ruin his career. So, you know what? Fair fucking play. He got the reward. He made the risk. He got the reward. The oblique kick, you're not risking shit, and again, you're unskillfully not just taking a fighter out of the fight, but, I don't want to over amplify the fucking up his career because plenty of people, and I've went through knee stuff without even having to get surgery, and I have some serious knee stuff, and you'd be surprised at the stuff that my chubby, unathletic ass can still do right now, from jump spins to other stuff from my Taekwondo days. So I don't want to over amplify the ruining his career, because I think there's a bit of that too. Don't get me wrong, I do. But at the same time, again, it's a shitty kick. I'm sorry I went this long to explain all these nuances and levels, but it doesn't take a lot of skill. It's a cheap kick, but at the same time, It's legal, and I'm fine with it being legal. And I think fighters should learn the defenses. And I think it's okay to acknowledge both sides, whether it's a stupid topic like this, folks, or the more important things. God forbid there's nuance. God forbid there's context. God forbid we acknowledge other parts of conversations than other people and points of view than outright shitting on them, even if we don't disagree, or even if we disagree, right? So that is my thing. I'm not trying to sub-talk people because, again, there's a lot of really smart people who I agree with that were talking about this on my timeline. So this isn't, for as much as I'm spraying the room, I'm not doing it maliciously or pointing at anybody in particularly. This is just something that always comes up with these kicks, and it was at nauseum volume with the result that everybody feared finally happening. So there's that. All right, I'm going to try to go through the rest of this card really fast. Paddy Piml defeated Luigi Vendramini. Yeah, again, defense be damned. It was a rough stretch for defense. I tweeted that out. And up until the main event with Paddy Piml, with Paddy Pimlet winning, I'm like, man, this has been a really good stretch for the hyped fighters these past few weeks, especially ones that are just offensive minded, where it just shows them losing because of all the holes we thought they had. And then they're just like, fuck it, offense, boom, I win. And so it's very unrewarding for us analysts, but I don't want to be a hater to another hyped fighter, even if he shares anti-immigrant and white nationalist stuff. But regardless, in the cage, out of the cage, things will mature and things will happen as they happen. And I'll be watching to see how Paddy Pimlet matures. It was a good win. It was a good win for him. As far as, he got to follow through on his promise, even though he almost got laid out himself. And Vendramini, chin pacing issues, he just kind of falls apart. Even though he almost won, This one I felt really good for, man. Felt really good. I definitely did not mind being wrong on this one. Molly McCann defeated Ji Yeon Kim. Molly. Meatball. Molly. Again, like I said on last week's podcast, even though I'm picking against her, I'm rooting for Molly. She's, from fellow Subway sandwich artist to mental health advocate. Just a big fan of Molly McCann. And it was a fun fight. They got fight of the night. I'm not hating. Really happy for her. That was an amazing reaction. Although I do feel that, we'll get to Julian Rosa and Charles Jourdain. There were two potential awards screwed out of there. But it was a fun fight. It was just fun seeing Molly do her thing. So I was really happy for her. Jack Shore defeated Ludwig Sholinian. The submission prop almost cashed. Was really close to that. Luckily I played it small, but, it was there. Round 3 was not there for Charles Jourdain as he got finished in round 3 by Julian Rosa. Bueller, Cameron from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Darshchuk. Pretty much, that was just great performance by Rosa. This was the reason why, even though I picked Jourdain and sprinkled round 3, that was the only play, and I kept him out of parlays for that reason. I just, I didn't feel strong on him as a parlay piece, but at the same time, I couldn't pick Orosa because of the turnaround he was doing. So I'm happy that the gamble paid off, but at the same time, I think shout out to Ed Gallo and him and Shuram, the Fights That MMA podcast. It's like you don't want to root against them, but it's like you hate seeing stuff like that pay off because it's, again, and shouts to Ed and Fight Site guys, they always are aware and keep that same energy with the head trauma stuff. But yeah, like that head trauma on that turnaround, and then he got concussed during the fight. He won, but he got concussed, so it's like, oof. That's always rough to see, right? Charles Jourdain, I like the belief the kid has in himself. I think he'll be back. It's weird. It's like I don't think he'll be like I don't know if it'll be championship status. Not that I ever thought that, but at the same time, I do kind of compare him to a Max Holloway, and I feel like he can come back from some losses here, maybe develop better counter wrestling in a guillotine. Because I'm not sure he'll ever get the physicality for the grappling and wrestling himself. But if he can add those counter things and be a building fighter, he can still have maybe some top 10 action potential in his future. He's definitely gonna have to work on the clinch. Did not seem, and then those in close areas did not seem comfortable there. And sure enough, that's where Rosa pushed the fight to and capitalized. This round 3 almost cashed, so I missed. But again, Wasn't too crazy on some of these. Marc-Andre Barrio defeated Dolce Lungiambula. Ended up turning into a big straight play with the Jonathan Martinez fight getting canceled. Obviously, Barrio was a parlay piece, which sucks because I don't like picking against guys from the Extreme Tour, or, especially when my man Eric Nixick is in the corner, one of the best cornermen and coaches out there, obviously. Has my vote, obviously. But obviously, I can't be biased all the time, and I try to be really good about that and pride myself on it. But yeah, this was just one of those matches that, I will pick the grindy guy who doesn't get stopped over the athletic guy who has gas tank issues, potentially. That said, Dolce did show a lot of improvements, man, and you got to credit Extreme Couture. However, also got to credit Sanford MMA, because Marc-Andre Barriel showed a lot of improvements, too. So, good stuff. Good stuff there. I like the Kyle Reyes, speaking of Extreme Couture, another reason why I wanted to do well. For them losing Kyle Reyes, I don't know Kyle, I'm not going to pretend I did, but I do know what it's like to lose training partners, coaches, etc. It sucks. So, props to Megan Olivier and the UFC broadcast for giving that a spot. It almost made up for all those goddamn Applebee's commercials. Oh my goodness, sorry if that song popped in your head as I said that. I wanted to shoot myself. Last thing on that, and I feel bad again for a fight that it didn't affect the decision, and I had nothing against Dolce, and again, my guy was in his corner. Had nothing to do with that. I wrote ref warnings and fouls. I was just upset, and I get Tyone was trying. He would do it later and tried to stay consistent for whatever that's worth. But I've said this ad nauseum. The fight, they don't have to warn. The warning is given out and back for refs. So technically, folks, it doesn't matter if it's an eye poke, a fence, the first foul, they can take points, and there's no problem for that, intentional or not. Secondly, regardless of the warning status, which again shouldn't even be a thing because the warning has already gotten out of the way. Secondly, is that even if it's not intentional, damage, again, back to damage, we love that, right? Damage, which I agree with, by the way, damage outweighs intent, so that even if they didn't intend to, if it's damaging enough, the low blow or the eye poke, to where it's obviously going to affect the fight in some way, well, now the ref can take the discretion, and should, by the way, to handicap the match to match that. And, I know refs don't want to involve themselves when you open it up for a draw, but you know what? That's a fighter pay issue, and we can't allow two broken systems, being athletic commissions and promotional pay to the fighters, dictate one another, because I know that they tend to run into both bridges, kind of run into each other where it fails to cross in the center, right? Well, you're just making draws, and we know how the pay structure works. I get that, and it sucks. I don't want that either. But at the same time, you can't. It's to the point where fighters can be doing this shit strategically. When the fighter gasses and they foul, catch your breath, just foul them. You're not going to lose a point for it. And even if you do, any fighter would rather lose a point than get finished while you're gassing. At least give yourself time to recover, and you can either A, give yourself the chance to win the fight, and B, at least give your chance enough to recover, maybe not get embarrassed and ride out the fight and save your dignity, and rob the other person of a bonus, of a finish they were going to get, which is more leverage to their career. And then it puts the fight that they probably arguably should have already won in the hands of some incompetence as judges that may still fuck it up despite the ref not taking points away. So again, you can't let one broken system interfere with the other. We can't let the refs holding hard and fast to their rule of I don't want to interfere with the fight. We can't have that interfere with a broken system that is the judges' poor fucking judging, right? These things are big enough problems on their own to allow them to feed off and justify one another. I believe makes things more problematic. So I really hate seeing one, much less two warnings given, because it allows the fighter to recover, essentially. And then it's just like, oh wait, are you gonna wait? Well, people are like, well, if he couldn't recover from the second one, then Chris Tyone, like he did in the Contender Series fight previous to that week, well then he can take the point after. And yes, it is the refs exercising to do that, and I'm glad they do. I'm glad Tyone did in his Contender Series. However, back to that Contender Series, should we really be patting him back for the right call there? Or should we be maybe looking closer at the fact that he let Brito get away with fouls galore before, and that's just the ones that he called. That's not including all the ones that he got away with. I mean, the guy went through the foul playbook the whole fucking time. So we're just, essentially at a certain point, are we just incentivizing these fighters to foul on one side? And B, yeah, you're technically giving justice after the fact, but should a fighter really have to go through a bunch of fouls to the where he's thriving on the floor in pain till we get that call? Because if Marc-Andre Barrio wasn't so goddamn tough, which was the reason why I and many picked him in this spot in the first place, like, he probably, like, you saw his eyes swelling up immediately. Those are usually indicative of really bad eye pokes. He was able to shake it off enough and open his eye enough, but that was a bad one. And he probably shouldn't have continued from that. What if he gets knocked out from Dolce's big right hand after that? He didn't, of course. But the fact is there was 2 fouls, just 2 that was called, just 2 that were called. And what does Tyone say? Not only does he not take a point in the second one, he goes, okay, if you foul again, I'm going to have to take a point. Dude, if he fouls again, fucking Barrio's going to be not just crippled, he's not going to be able to continue this fight. He might not even be able to fight for, right for the rest of his life if it's another damn eye poke. So again, even though nothing happened, my outrage was more toward that than the knee kick. Because eye pokes happen every fucking card. And vision can affect UFC careers, as we saw with Michael Bisping. But he got a UFC title. Obviously an outlier, folks, but still an example, nonetheless. As far as the negative, he had to go through a lot of damage until he, luckily enough, got that call, right, at 199. So, again, my issue is that people are getting wrong at the wrong parts of either the wrong things outright, or they're getting wrong at the wrong angles and not looking at the nuance of things. Or, more important, things that happened on the very same card. So, long-winded recap since there wasn't anything to break down. Sorry I leaned into that. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys too much and was able to bring more of a point of view and perspective to the low leg side kicks or oblique kicks, if you will, and my opinions on them. As we'll move to listener questions, and I will not re-answer in nauseam, but we'll give credit. Mark Fellows. My man, Mark Fellows, at Fellows Mark. Hi, Dan. Long time, first time. Let me timestamp this, but we're doing okay. Yeah. 108. Wow. Dan, long time, first time. Who do you predict will be the next champion at 185 and any other divisions you wish to consider? Cheers. Man, it's tough because I feel like Robert Whittaker is the only fighter that I've yet to pick against as an analyst. It's officially doing this. And I told myself I was going to have to pick against him if he fights Izzy again. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Whittaker did not fight smart to how he was, and he's shown improvement since then. He's shown that he could shake off the anxiousness that he showed in that fight and the Till fight. However, longer fighters who can counter maybe still could be a kryptonite. So I'm not ready to say he is the next, but I'll put it this way. If there's going to be anybody who's the next champion at 185 in the near future, obviously a lot can change in, a year and a half to 2 years. But within the next year and a half, it's either going to be, if Whittaker doesn't beat him, then it'll be Adesanya. I know it's not a very sexy prediction, but there it is. My man, Keith McKenna. My Irish brother from another mother. Do you think a lot of the negativity around Till and his recent record has been unfair to the level of opposition? Or was he pushed too far too soon? Or both? Hope you're well, my man. I am, and I hope you're well too, Keith. Hopefully you're still working with the animals and the dogs. You like dogs? I like dogs too. Yeah, man. I hate it. Again, this is what I was kind of referring to. I feel like it's unfair. And again, this is why I don't hate Till even though I pick against him. This is why in all my breakdowns and breakdown videos, you notice that I'm always really quick to give him credit and to remind people that I do think he's a skillful fighter and that I do hate picking against him because, I was infected with the charm from his first fight in Brazil where he beat, was it Wendell Oliveira, I believe, and he gave his bilingual post-fight. Like, I get where the hype spawned from, I felt it too back then. However, having to judge things as an unbiased analyst and seeing someone with a limited game, it becomes harder and harder to pick them when the promotion pushes them up. And I feel that it wasn't Till's fault. That's why I always made it a point to say I don't dislike Till. I think he's skillful. I hate picking against him. That's why I always throw these caveats in there. And perhaps I didn't do it as much for guys like Chikadze, but for as much as I get accused of hating that guy, it comes from the same place. It's not because I hate these fighters. I don't. Actually, it's the opposite. It's because I care is why I'm saying this. It's because I care about the product I see. It's because I care about these fighters' build. Now, with Chikadze's, even though he was, fed a bunch of cans, it actually served him well because he was afforded what I wish more of fighters were: time to grow. And Chikadze, even though he doesn't hit my stylistic sensibilities, he has more than proven that he has grown. Now, how much he's grown, we'll see, but he has grown. He's made use of that. My problem is that he, despite his, ardent defenders, there was still a lot that was unproven within an MMA context and sample size, folks. It just was, and there still is, right? To certain extents. And Chikadze's been able to win, so it worked out for him fine. But what I'm pointing at is it's the same thing for like a Darren Till, is that it could have gone the other way. That's the problem with these hype things, is more often than not, folks, they don't even get to get built up as far as Darren Till gets built up before they get shot down. See other Derek Brunson opponents, right? Shabazian, etc. That's my issue, is that it's unfair, and that it's not that, I hate the fighter now because it's their fault. No, it's the fact that it's unfair toward that fighter that you love, and y'all accuse me of hating these hype job fighters. It's not even so much that, although there is bias there that I admit to, sure. But honestly, it's more because I care. I don't want to see them rush to the spotlight, and I hate that. It goes against, these fighters' careers. It goes against what I do as an analyst, because then you have all this hype being attached and these things being improperly inflated or conflated, etc. All the pet peeves of mine, right? That's what I don't like. It's not these fighters. So, yeah, I would say more to the promotion than anything, That would be my answer. My man Tony C, me after becoming a Paddy the Baddy fan. It looks like Hezbollah with a Paddy the Piml haircut. That is some scary stuff. This would be like I would love to see like some kind of like a Guy Ritchie film where some like big giant baby man is the bad guy. Craig Allen, thoughts on Charles Jourdain's up and down in the cage, highs of highs beating Choi in Busan, and lowest of lows, losing to short notice opponents / having very close fights with short notice opponents. Yeah, that's really tough. He seems to be one of those fighters with his action style kind of gives way to that, which is why I think both clinch and defense, both by strikes and clinch defense, is going to be huge for him, like I said earlier, Craig. Shout out to Craig Allen, by the way. Dude's been, I know the dude's been killing it for a minute, but dude's been killing it with his YouTube channel, man. So go check that out. Let me give that a shot, actually. Fight Night Picks on YouTube. Those guys are killing it. Go support Craig. Craig at Craig Allen FNP if you want to follow him on Twitter. Yeah, man. And again, I saw it's tough. He could be very much a fight to the level. That's why I see him more as an action fighter than potential champion. But I said that about Max Holloway. I said I never thought I was going to see Max Holloway as champion, but he's going to be a fun action fighter. And I was more than happy to be wrong. So I will be more than happy to be wrong for Charles Jourdain. But I do think he's probably just going to be more of a popular action fighter who could be suspect of fighting to his opponent's levels, as you kind of said there. My man Blaine Henry, Fight Library, another person you should go check out and go subscribe to all his stuff, whether it's YouTube or follow him on Twitter at Blaine Henry TFL. Blaine says, "What did you think of Sung-Shi?" Yeah, I went to go see Sung-Shi. As I said in my tweet, there's so much more I could say, and I don't want to make this go any longer, so I'll try to go into a long thing. Would rather do like an actual recap of it as a separate episode, and do it with someone I can bounce off of, someone that actually follows the MCU universe, because I do not. Like my girlfriend knew way more about that than I, so she was kind of filling me in on some stuff. But the cool thing is they made Sung-Shi enjoyable for those who you can walk in and not know about the MCU and still enjoy it. You cannot miss too much, although there's a little ton of Easter eggs that obviously I missed. Like certain scenes, would have been even more funnier. Although I will say their little end scenes. Again, I haven't watched the MCU. The last thing I watched was Black Panther because I wanted to check that out and support that. Now I want to rewatch that now, honestly. And then I'm a big fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn, what he did. But again, those were much different flavors, style trendsetters in certain ways for Guardians, right? Everyone's trying to rip that. So yeah, I did not have a lot of that context, but I love that it both, pushes that whatever the Phase 4 they call it, and that dimensional stuff, as well as plays well into the MCU universe. Again, enjoyable for people like me who did not take part in the comic book craze because I'm a contrarian. And I kind of hate Marvel and all this stuff, and I still kind of do. Don't know how to feel about it, but I'm happy because people didn't realize, like, of course, here comes the Bruce Lee stuff. I saw Jeff, some Asian writers that I follow, and they were talking, like, because I guess that's the thing, like, of course, we bring up Shang-Chi and everybody's like, oh, bro, Bruce Lee, and all the Bruce Lee bros get in our mentions, right? Like, oh, God, here we go. Tell me, it's like, insert what all Asian people must feel the umpteenth billionth time someone wants to talk to them about Bruce Lee. Just insert the Wonka meme, like, tell me more about Bruce Lee and how I should feel about him. This was different. This was different, folks. I mean, again, I hate the popular thing, Western cinema, Hollywood, and all the bullshit that it's done, especially the Asians. But, this is a little bit of makeup, even within the MCU, for the whitewashing bullshit with the Iron Fist or whatever it was called, right? Like, they make up for a lot of that here. And they give us a stage, man. Like, it was crazy. It might have been the north of 200 milligrams of unfiltered adult candy that Dan Tom may or may not have taken before the show. But I don't expect people to get this, and people make fun of me because, and I've heard it, even people I respect talking about, saying she's supposed to be representation. No, it's a real fucking thing, folks. It's a real fucking thing. I'm not going to go into that. You guys should know from listening to me and my shows. It's a real fucking thing. And again, it might have been the 200 north of 200 milligrams or so that old Dan Tom took before the movie, but there were multiple parts that weren't meant to be sad or anything that I was just tearing up because I couldn't believe what I was watching. I was like, we're the fucking hero. We're kicking ass instead of just what most Asians had to witness for the last year of just us getting our ass kicked. And when we are able to make it to sports, we usually watch ourselves get our ass kicked. When we do well, like the Jeremy Lins of the world, it's met with racism from all races. It's a special spot us Asians get. Although there's that baseball player apparently is kicking ass, and I'm seeing a bunch of the Western world giving him credit, so that's awesome. Apologies, I don't follow baseball. But yeah, like for the most part, it's just us getting our ass kicked. Vincent Chin, the Chinese American who was beaten to death over the Japanese auto industry rise because the dangers. Again, but it's okay to just blame Asian faces. Chinese Exclusion Act. If you live in Southern California, you probably can live over at Chinatown because if there was any crimes that the Chinese were blamed for, even if they didn't do it, whether it was whites, Hispanics, everybody would march in and enforce because they knew where the Chinese were. There was a Chinatown, and there were plenty of Chinatowns that were just wiped off the face of the earth. And I forget one of the by Santa Ana, or not Santa Ana, actually, maybe it was in Northern California, actually. A mayor there did a really interesting piece, this black mayor who uncovered these underground tunnels and wanted to bring light to it, because that's how the Chinese had to move around at night because it was so dangerous for them. They weren't allowed to even be out on the streets at certain parts of the day. So just, I'm not trying to, unfairly conflate all that shit, but it's just like history, much less history, especially in this country, it's just not been kind, man. They don't let us have any of these traditional roles. So just to fucking see, like, we're the one kicking ass. We're the hero. We're the one, I don't want to spoil anything, but like, we're the one that get to do stuff that we invented, that other people have appropriated this whole time. Like, what? We get to do it? Like, it was something else, man. It was something else. It was just, it was awesome. It was awesome. That, I even got teary-eyed thinking just like Dude, I would have killed for this. By the way, like, when I actually, Dan Tom used to write, I had this memory come back to me. I made my own comic strip as a kid because I felt like there wasn't enough superheroes of color. And I didn't make an Asian superhero, by the way, folks. I made a black superhero, and he was called the Black Knight. And he had a kind of like a hobgoblin like hoverboard, but he went like snowboarding. He rode it snowboarding style. He had like all these like ninja darts. He kind of looked like an offshoot, like a blacked out Deadpool. And I just, and that was another reason why I wanted to see Black Panther when it came out, because, even though the Shang-Chi, Black Panther, they actually had literary history, it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't the most expanded, And when they did tackle topics, they weren't really giving credit for these things. So to see these things get reprisals years later and what they do to their respective communities, it is important, folks. And to finally get to see that for, because Hollywood's been doing this and making their rounds, but the Asians traditionally are skipped over, So to see us finally get something was pretty fucking cool, man. And it was an objectively good film. It had plenty of laughs. Awkwafina was awesome. She did great. Tony Leung was amazing and made me want to go watch some Wong Kar-wai films now. Like, oh my god, like it was really well done. I know it could be MCU can be accused of too much comedy, but man, I felt it was great. Like, and a lot of it too. Again, there was stuff you could watch in there as an Asian and really get. They did a really good job of catching like oh my god, that's like that is the Asian mom, that's the popo, that's the apo, akung, and even my girlfriend was like recognizing some of the Chinese that she sees me use with my family, or especially when she went back to Hawaii, where I obviously have all my family is, and a lot of my Chinese culture is there. So she saw me interact with that, and she was actually able to. I was proud of her. She was actually able to recognize some of the words, some of the Chinese, as they would go from code switching, not just Chinese to English, but Cantonese, Cantonese to Mandarin, and it was very much remind me, because I grew up around Cantonese, and I had to learn Mandarin with my trips to China, and so did my grandparents, although they just kind of stubbornly tried to push through and fucking refuse and just speak to Cantonese to everybody in China. I'm like, because they could understand, but like legally they weren't supposed to be speaking that language. So they were just like, fuck it. I know you can understand me. I know you can't acknowledge you understand me, but I'm going to say this. So they would still use a lot of Cantonese, even though I was trying my best to use Mandarin. So I really appreciate the code switching. And just a lot of these things, like, obviously, it doesn't hurt that Dan Tom used to be a valet and, has issues with his father and sister. So there's a lot of relatable stuff there for me too. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, man. Go see it, go support it. Apparently it's kicking ass in the cinema. It should. We have the fucking numbers, and this is something that should be enjoyable to everybody. So whether you're Asian American, or Asian American, Pacific Islander, Southeast Asian, ally, go see it. Let me know what you think. Even if you don't like it, you're still supporting it. You don't have to like it. Go see it and support it for yourself. And for everybody that I pissed off for talking shit on Marvel, feel free to call me a hypocrite for seeing this. Talk shit all you like. It's perfectly fine. I'll own it. I just ask that you go see it and you keep that same energy for all the fucking nerding out in Marvel and the appropriation they've been doing. They actually did something for real. They actually did something for the good. They actually rewrote some literary works for the better. And go support it. Thank you for that question. Sorry for that long answer. All right. At Brazchuk, how does Sly feel about oblique kicks? Oh, Jesus Christ, Brad. I don't know if you caught the last one of Sly, Brad, but last episode. But okay, folks, God, you guys really want him to come on here. Oh, 1 second, let me just. Hey, what's going on? I didn't think you wanted me back so soon after the looks you gave me on last show. Sly, we had a question here from my friend Brad. I like questions. He wants to know how you feel about the oblique kick. It's the it was kind of that low shot, low, not really a low blow, but a low blow. Sly got a lot of opinions on low blows. A lot of blows. Things blow out of holes. Slides. Techniques. Oh, yeah. Low blows. Groin shots are bad. No. Not that kind of a low blow. Oblique kick. What's an oblique? I figure you should know that with your muscle work. Sly, but no. The kicking to someone's knee. Oh, that's dirty. It's not coffee table Sly party dirty, but it's pretty, it's not unsanitary, but it's dirty. Thank you for making that clarification, Sly. So you're not a fan of the oblique kick, you don't think? But what about John Jones uses it? You like John Jones, right? Sly, not a fan of John Jones. Sly, I'm starting to get really racial undertones with some of your answers. Is it just me, or is it? Listen, Sly likes to keep things a little fun. Sly hires lots of people of color. You saw Expendables, right? Yeah, I got every color there. Yeah, so Sly has Expendables. Okay, Sly, that's going to be your shield for that. All right. I just wondered if you had, I guess, any insight. I mean, boxing, you don't really have to deal with people kicking your knees, so I wasn't sure if you had to deal with that. I just don't like dirty fighting. You say that, Sly, but that didn't stop you from using some cheap moves on Thunder Lips. I mean, you even put him in an RNC right there, for a boxer who doesn't like, the jiu-jitsu. You did some dirty stuff in that fight, Sly. Aren't we being a little hypocritical? Hey, listen, me and Hogan made up for it afterward. Hogan likes to party. Me and Hogan. Listen, I don't need to know what you and Hogan did. Let's not ruin childhood superheroes for everybody. All right, thanks for that, Sly. I'm gonna kick you out of here for you overstay your welcome. All right, there's that one. For Brad Shook, a little impromptu Sly Stallone. Him and those fucking coffee tables, I swear to God. That's a true story, folks, by the way. I know he likes to joke about it, but Nicholas Daly at The Fight Sleuth, do you think the gaps in Till's game right now are as a result of his coaching or because of how he applies himself in the gym / in the fight? That's really interesting because I was thinking about that. So Colin Aaron had Terry Edom, who was more of a kickboxer, had a good guillotine, could do some jiu-jitsu. You had Paul Sass, I like to play, who was just like a submission, like ace guy, right? He was a Team Calbon guy, right? Aspinall, who was on the card, he's a jiu-jitsu black belt. He can do leg locks. He's got some pretty good wrestling, competent wrestling. Granted, he doesn't always bring in the big guys, but he brought in some big guys for this camp. You got Mike Grundy, the Commonwealth wrestler. So you've got a lot of different styles. I know it's not speaking on coaching, but I've never been coached under Colin Aaron, so I can't really answer that. He seems like a no-nonsense guy, a real, someone dedicated to the craft. He really has that fatherly about him. He's really committed to that in the corner. He's not, out there shouting bullshit. Seems like a no-nonsense character, so I wouldn't necessarily blame it on the coaching, especially since they've encouraged him to move before. I think this is more Darren Till's choice and the position the promotion is putting him in. And all the coaches, all they can often do is just do what they can to help their fighter when they can. That's about all they can do. All right. Chronic Combat Conversations. Shout to those guys in that podcast. Do you think it's realistic for Till to move back to 170, or do you think Izzy versus Brunson rematch plays out differently this time around? 170, I don't know about that. I think he is a 185er, and he just needs to build into that frame. He seems like he's always had trouble cutting the weight. Seems like a natural thick guy. So I say stay at middleweight, and he's just going to have to get a step back from the promotion, work on his game, decide his approach, maybe back toward Nicholas Daly's angle. Also, what was the other one? Do you think Izzy versus Brunson rematch plays out differently this time around? I think it could, but if Brunson looks like that on the feet with his entries, he will get countered by Izzy, but Brunson also, as we found out, had a fractured rib and didn't get any sparring in, so his stand-up, not that it's fantastic, but it did look more suspect this time around than it normally does, to the credit of his reasoning there. The Guru Scouting at MMA, keeping it in the family here. Do you like big butts? And remember, you cannot lie. In the immortal words of B.A. Billy Gunn's walkout music back in the WWF Golden Age, I'm an ass man. I'm an ass man. Yeah, that answers that. But of course, there's only one butt right now. But yes, I do like myself some butts. Fuck it. Do you. Stockholm Syndrome. I love it, man. I love it. Appreciate your support at Henrik_Bill. All right, that went much longer than I wanted to, but there's nothing going on this week. So, hey, an hour and a half episode will give you guys some stuff to munch on. But yeah, go back and look at that. Go check out that at Dan Tom MMA. Go share that Sakurai Pulver Bushido Dive video. Let the kids know. Kids don't know about Sakurai. Go share that around. Hope you guys did okay. Thank you for clicking through on the banners. Thank you for sitting through this madness. I'll be back later in this week. Either some technical talk with one of the many analysts whom I greatly respect, or maybe we'll do a fun top 5. We'll see. I'll get you something for this weekend. But just definitely wanted to give you the recap. All right, guys. Enjoy. Don't be dicks. Hopefully, I didn't annoy you too much. And, yeah, go support Sung Shi. Much love, and always protect your neck. Back later in this week, either some technical talk with one of the many analysts whom I greatly respect, or maybe we'll do a fun top 5. We'll see. I'll get you something for this weekend. But just definitely wanted to give you the recap. All right, guys. Enjoy. Don't be dicks. Hopefully, I didn't annoy you too much. And, yeah, go support Sung Shi. Much love, and always protect your neck.